June the 6th, D-Day. The Allies are finally ready to take Western Europe back from those who conquered it. 175,000 Americans, British, Canadians, and Free French begin the assault on the German-held beaches of Normandy. Private Dom Bart to his wife Mildred in Brooklyn.
I could hear the artillery and the brrp of machine gun fire. A landing craft was half filled with water. I never thought we would make it. Finally, the word came. Let's go. And there we were in combat. Something new in my life.
Sergeant Eugene Lawton.
We hit the water and waded ashore. Under cover of this high ground, we were safe. But somewhere in front of us was an enemy who knew how to soldier.
I lost all hopes and said my last prayer to the good Lord. Got to the beach half frozen and almost unable to move, and then I passed out. When I came to, the fighting was at a climax. With sheer will, fear, and luck, we overcame. The price was high, but we covered ourselves with glory. Love and kisses, Dom.
By D-Day's end, a narrow strip of France is free again. President Roosevelt leads his nation in prayer.
Almighty God, our sons, pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic and to set free a suffering humanity. And let our hearts be stout to bear sorrows that may come, to impart our courage unto our sons, wheresoever they may be.
Eugene Lawton.
Mom and Dad, I'm afraid I can't go beyond what I've already told you. Can say I was hit, but as to date, time, and place, as censorship doesn't permit it, why try to write about it? I'm doing fine. Love always, Sonny.
Martha Gellhorn stows away on a hospital ship to be one of the first reporters in Normandy.
It will be hard to tell you of the wounded. There were so many of them. They had to be fed, as most of them had not eaten for 2 days. Their shoes had to be cut off. They wanted water. They were a magnificent, enduring bunch of men. Men smiled who were in such pain that all they really kind of wanted to do was to turn their heads away and cry. And men made jokes when they needed their strength just to survive. "10,000 Allied soldiers, 6,000 of them Americans, are killed or wounded on D-Day. Far fewer than expected. The British and Canadians head east and then north,
the Americans go west. Jackie Greer writes to her fiancé, Quentin Anderson, about D-Day in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
All America had been asked to pray, so I slipped out of bed and knelt in prayer for a few minutes. I prayed for all the boys over there, but mostly I prayed for you.
Protected by barrage balloons and air cover, men and equipment come ashore in a seemingly endless chain of supply. Ollie Stewart reporting for the Afro-American.
Everything for the fighting man is unloaded on the beaches to be hauled to the front. If one single day our soldiers had to lean on their rifles because they had no bullets, we would have been thrown back into the sea. But we haven't been thrown back into the sea because the boys keep them rolling.
Award-winning journalist Ernie Pyle for the Scripps Howard News Service.
On the beach itself were all kinds of wrecked vehicles. There were half-tracks carrying office equipment that had been made into a shambles by a single shell hit. There are interiors still holding smashed typewriters, telephones, office files. And standing out there on the water beyond was the greatest armada man has ever seen. You simply could not believe the collection of ships that lay out there waiting to unload. Its utter enormity would move the hardest man.
Army nurses arrive on D-Day +4. The U.S. Army's 50th General Hospital raise their tents in a Normandy cow pasture, the theory being where cows are, landmines aren't. Clearing and construction is done by black GIs. Segregated from white troops, they are given only basic support services to perform. Even before its tents are up, the 50th Hospital starts filling with casualties from fighting in the Normandy hedgerows. Corporal J. Sullivan.
Dear Mom, how I got here in the middle of hell's a-poppin' I don't know, but here I am. Rommel on one side, the sea on the other. The Western Front isn't much bigger than a baseball diamond, but what a diamond. The best army in the world is here, and they're going to do to the dastard Germans what Uncle Al's boys didn't do in the last war.
By the end of June, 11,000 Americans have been killed and 27,000 wounded. The Germans have a natural ally in France, an extremely wet and muddy summer that favors the entrenched defender over the mobile attacker. Supreme Allied Commander Dwight Eisenhower writes, "When I die, they ought to hold my body for a rainy day and then bury me out in the middle of a storm. This damned weather is going to be the death of me yet." The Allies finally break out on July 27. The Germans are forced back towards the fatherland, chased by one of the most mobile armies in history. And a new leader arrives, the American general the German command fears most, George Patton.
I'm proud to be here to fight beside you.
This is Douglas Edwards reporting that American armored columns in France, in advances of more than 30 miles, have pushed the Germans to the approaches of Saint-Nazaire and Nantes. The Russians are slicing forward over the Polish plains tonight within 40 miles of Krakow and 72 miles of German Silesia.
August 1944. Another Allied